episode 193.
Yay! Almost 200.
I know, that's amazing. If you are a repeat viewer, thank you for watching us again. And new people, welcome.
And new people, I'm Sheila, also known as Sheila D37.
And I'm Wendy, also known as Penny Winnie. And
we have a couple of shout-outs.
We do.
First one is to say thank you to Mary for your much-needed, generous donation. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching us.
As people know who watch the show, we run this entirely on donations. We don't sell product. I mean, we do have things available with stuff in our store, but we don't run the show on that.
No.
We don't get much from that. So any donation that people give is greatly appreciated. Mary, this was a very special donation, and we hugely
really appreciate it. Thank you.
So thank you.
Also, just a reminder that we're doing our warmth knit-along.
Yes.
Which includes, pink, red, yellow, and orange.
That's right. The colors on the warm side of the spectrum.
Apparently there's cool reds. I'm not going in there. That's too complicated for me. We will do a cool knit-along probably in June or July.
Yeah, when the weather gets hot. And another shout out that we have is at the end of this episode, we're going to show you a new pattern collection from designer Angeleah McGarrah. We've featured her work on our show before. She's a friend of mine, a client of mine. And not only do you have a chance to win one of her 6 new patterns, but if you don't want to wait for that, you are going to get a code from us. You can either buy the entire collection or the individual patterns for 25% off.
Nice.
So that's going to be at the end of the show. And the code will be repeated in the show notes so that you can be reminded. And I'll probably put it in the thread too. So that's it for shout out.
I believe so. We are, just a quick thing, we will be thinking of something for February for a knit-along. So we still have a thread about what we want to do. So throw your suggestions in there. We're still going to look through them.
Yep, because that's where we're going to get some ideas from. So.
Yes. So I guess on the dance card, correct?
That's you.
All right. So I'm still working on my hat by Heather Kinney, who is Boutros Babe on Ravelry. Sorry.
Thank you, our friends, and Katie for letting me know that we were doing it wrong.
We apologize, Heather.
We do.
We never really
Apparently, we also pronounced Suzanne's last name wrong.
I have never claimed to be able to read names in any which way.
It might be Govro. I don't know.
I have no idea. I don't even attempt it. It's bad enough when I have to call patients their names. So anyways, I am doing Boutros Babe, Heather Kinney's lined beanie. And I haven't really gotten... Actually, no, I have gotten far. And I ripped back because I believe I was blue last time.
Yeah.
So what I did is I decided the 2 colors that I wanted to do together, I really didn't like them. Because these are heathered.
Yeah.
And so I think it needed 2 heathers. Meaning the type of yarn.
Yeah.
Not...
I like that contrast.
So I think
better.
these 2 will be better together.
Yeah, I like that.
Because they both are heathered colors. And this is the inside, so the gray's not going to make a difference. That's the thing I like about this hat. Is the inside, you can make it any color you want. Nobody's going to know.
Get rid of your scraps.
Exactly. And I have a lot of scraps to get rid of. So I think I'm almost at the point where I'm going to do... It's a free pattern. And you do a reversed... You do a purl row
and then
to help
flip it
up. And this is for my oldest son, Max. That's all I have on the needles.
Excellent.
Excellent.
I have...
Howdy on. Sorry.
Okay.
Ooh, pretty.
What is it? Wayne and
Garth.
Garth. You'd be Garth. You have Garth hair.
I'm like, wait a minute. Why am I Garth?
I have Wayne hair.
Excellent. Party on, or whatever it is.
Shwing.
Shwing? Sorry.
I don't do it towards me.
No,
all right.
Just... On that note.
So, I have 2 things on the dance card. One of them is, this is the Swirl E sock by a lady.
A lady.
Oh, it's not Spiral E. It's Swirl E socks.
I think you said that the last time, meaning it.
Well, her name is Susie, possibly White. It's in the show notes. I do put these things in the show notes.
Sure you do.
Swirl E socks. So now I just have to state for the record, this is the third name I've called them. I called them Stripe E socks. I called them Spiral E socks. And the actual name is Swirl E socks. I like it. It's a very simple, free pattern. I don't know if you can see it, but it just does a spiral around the sock in pearl stitches. It's free, so looks great with striped sock yarn, I think. This is the second sock. The back is just plain. That's the sole of it. And I am working it on the yarn that Sheila gave me for Christmas, which is White Birch Fiber Arts in the It's How We Roll colorway. I looked it up.
Okay.
It's How We Roll, which I personally I think is gorgeous.
Yes.
And so that's one thing on the needles. The other thing on the needles is my Christmas sock, which, is that even in here? That's the yarn.
Which is MIA at the moment.
No, it's in here. I have to have 2 bags for that project. I thought my front door was open. I still haven't gone back. I ripped it out.
You haven't gone back out?
I had too much stuff going on this past week to because I wanted to finish that cross stitch up, so I didn't work on this. But this is a Bucilla sock kit that somebody put the pattern for on the internet, and I am reimagining it, knit toe up in the round with a heavier weight yarn, and it's coming out great. But if you make a mistake in intarsia, it's a lot of trouble to rip it out, and I just have to get myself back into the mood of fixing that. So that sock and that Christmas sock and this are the only things I have on the dance card.
Cool. Okay. So I have a date to rate. There we go. Sorry. I don't have them very often. I forgot what the title was. This is the Easy Shawl by Martina Behm. And it is exactly what it says. It's easy.
I loved knitting that shawl.
I have not blocked this, and I probably won't formally block it.
I didn't block mine.
I'll probably soak it, because really, you should soak it. And I really love how this worked out, especially with these colors. So this is more, it's not a blue-green, it's more of a Kelly green and a forest green.
You see, if this light really adds a blue to it that's not there. It's much more forest.
Foresty to Kelly, wouldn't you say?
It reminds me of a bright pink rose with leaves. That's what it reminds me of. I guess like a bright pink peony with leaves.
It's,
They're leaving.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
It's Gypsy Girls Transitions yarn in the peony or peony, however you'd like to pronounce it. Colorway. And it's a flower and leaves, and I really like this. I have to, so use 2 skeins, and so I have to weave in the ends. What I ended up doing, because I really wanted to use most of the yarn up, is at the end, this is a pay for yarn. So this ridge, which I like and Wendy doesn't.
Shh. Sorry, my son
I continued maybe 4 rows.
Yeah.
With the decrease that she suggests.
Yeah.
It gives it a little curve, but that's okay. Because my intentions was to use up all the yarn, and I don't think this is what I have left.
Excellent.
So yeah, I used up all the yarn.
Oh,
I like to do that. That's when a good project. I don't even think you have enough to do a square.
No, I don't. That is a throwaway piece of
yarn. It is a throwaway piece of yarn, or tie a ribbon on a gift or something. Yep. I don't know. But yeah, I'm very happy with it. I really like how it looks.
I like mine too. Now we both have one.
And hey, it's a completed knit-along.
It was. We did
a
complete knit-along.
Would have been funny if we died.
The way things are going today, I probably would have smacked her right in the face.
Nobody what? Nobody tied what?
Nobody died or hated the pattern.
No. I was getting a little bored. Not bored with it. It's just that
towards the end, you're like excited to get it.
Yeah, I was starting to get startitis. But the other thing I was concerned about with mine is because I wanted it to go from one end to another. So because it was 2 skeins, I started the red where the pink where the pink finish, and I was really worried that I wouldn't reach the green.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I shouldn't have had to worry about. But I really, really enjoyed this. And I'll probably just do a soak, weave in the ends, and call it a day, and put it in the bin.
Thank you, Katie D, for sending us that pattern.
Oh, I love it.
We both really enjoyed it. I will probably knit that again.
Yeah.
That would be a great knit for a gift pattern. Because it's something that you can work on anywhere because it's mindless.
Oh, yeah.
And it takes one skein of yarn.
And, I mean, really, it's well, mine took 2, but that's only because they were,
half skeins. Kind of.
But it wouldn't take up that much room.
No.
It's kind of like this or socks, and
Yeah, it's a good travel project, and it would make a great gift because it's just easy for someone to wear nicely. You don't have to mess with it. It's a good gift.
And if you do it in gradient, like we both did, 2 different types of gradients,
it really adds something special to the.
It really does.
Because mine looks kind of like arty.
You know what would look really good with the creme, the coffee color one would look really good.
Yeah, that would have been pretty too.
But now I know if I make one of these in mine, that's what mine would look like because I have the same yarn.
Yeah, you have the same one.
Yeah, I like how it looks not blocked, really. I do.
I do, too. I don't think I'm going to block mine. It's the perfect length already. I don't really need to...
Well, and I like the crescent shape to it more so than the other. So that is my finished object.
I have a project half done, a PhD, because I have finished one of my Swirl E socks, and this is it. This, again, is the... It came out so pretty.
It's like a navy blue, huh?
It's navy blue, red to pink. Because it's like a gradient in the red stripe. And then white. I love it. This is the White Birch Fiber Arts, and It's How We Roll. And I made the swirls go in the opposite direction.
See, I wouldn't even notice that.
So
I know that's your.
That's
it's funny how we each have our own little hang-ups.
That's my quirk. You can see if you look carefully that the swirls go in
images.
the opposite direction, so they're mirror images. The pattern does not tell you about mirror imaging, but I always do it. So I like the way this came out. I like the way this sock yarn feels knit up.
I know, I really do
such
too.
A nice base.
But see, it's funny because I'm wondering if it feels as soft because you knit it differently than I would knit it.
Like, because I don't knit as tight as you?
Yeah, because you don't knit bulletproof like I do.
Yeah, I don't know. I love it. They wear so well, too, because I have another pair that I just wore yesterday, as a matter of fact. I was thinking I was wearing them today, but I'm wearing Fibernymph today.
I'm wearing Desert Beast to Dye Works.
Ah. So, that's a project half done. Other than that, I haven't finished anything.
Nothing.
I ain't got nothing this week.
Whirlwind?
I do in the sense of my stitching, not in the sense of my spinning. So I've been showing you my progress. First of all, Gracious Love is done. Came out good. Love it. I'm going to have it professionally framed.
Oh, is it just 2 colors?
2 colors. It took just over 2 skeins of each of these embroidery flosses. I had to buy 3 skeins of each, and I just used a little bit of the 3rd skein.
Skein meaning a little thing of DMC
Those DMC
floss. Okay.
Skeins.
No, I know. I just wanted...
Yeah. So that's done. I finished my sister-in-law's present.
The only thing I have to say on this, and I love this, it just seems such a waste that you use so much...
Oh, well, you could only get the black in one size without specially ordering it. I could have, but I couldn't be bothered.
Just curious.
Because I needed a certain amount around it to frame it. Okay. So, and it was going to leave me with a strip that I wouldn't really be able to use for much. So I just was like, screw it, and I did it that way. But this is finished. So that I'm going to have the big one professionally framed. This one I'm going to frame myself in a wooden hoop. Mm-hmm. And then I want to show you the first month of the Storytime Classic Sampler. If you are a member of the Storytime Classic Sampler and you do not want to see this, look away.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, you can kind of see it. I'm doing...
So how much of the... All right, go ahead. Show what
you need to... Oops, there we go. There's Alice and the white rabbit and the Cheshire cat, and there's a little gold pocket watch in the frame, and I've done about a third of the heading.
So for the first clue, you were given this?
Just that picture frame. But you also, I actually have the outline for all the frames, because you need to know where the center is to get to there.
Okay.
So I could, in advance, stitch all of the frames. I have the colors of them and everything.
So,
and I could, obviously, I started to stitch the title, because that you just work on that over the whole course of the year. But each month now I'll be given the picture that goes inside each frame. And the next clue is on January 30th.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the first clue was the 15th of January. And the next clue is January 30th. And I think the last clue is going to be on November 30th.
Okay.
Because...
Right, okay.
So the first clue basically gave you all of the frame outlines and everything. And...
So are you going to work on the frame outlines if you...
No, I want to get the heading, the Storytime Classic, done in between times. But after that, I'm going to work each frame as they come.
Now, what count Aida?
Aida,
sorry.
We're all learning now that it is Aida.
What count?
I think it's 16.
This is tiny.
It's tiny.
Wow.
It's tiny. 16 or 18. I can't remember, but it's very small.
And that's what it requires?
Yes. What happens when you do a Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery Club is you pay for the pattern and you get an initial email that tells you a list of all of the supplies that you'll need. And they are using, this is a custom dyed Aida from Picture This Plus or Picture This Plus. They tell you exactly what size Aida to order, how much you need to order, like do you need to eat an eighth of a yard, a quarter of a yard, like they'll tell you the size to order. And they obviously are in touch with the people at Picture This Plus so that they know that they will be dyeing that for the special projects. And you can get, I got the plain because I didn't know I could have gotten sparkly.
Would you have gotten sparkly?
I would have gotten sparkly just because it's kind of special. But yeah, Wits Knits on Instagram got the sparkly and I was looking at hers and I was like, dang. But when I realized there was sparkly, I had already purchased mine. So the next time I do one of these, if this is enjoyable and I do one next year,
I think the whole idea of having one little thing a month is...
I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Like it took me like 2 nights to do just this part. And then I felt like stitching. I just did the rest of that. And it's kind of a nice break. And it's kind of relaxing. And I have... all of my colors out on, I have two thread organizers. So all the colors that I needed for this month's work were organized on here. So I just had them out and I would just pick off what I needed. Right. So it was just kind of a fun, relaxing project to have.
Oh, that's good.
I don't know what just fell on the floor. Oh, my scissors.
Skizzers.
My embroidery scissors. So I've been enjoying it, and I like it. But like I said, the first thing tells you what supplies you'll need, so you can order and have everything ready in advance. And not only does it give you the custom dyed floss that they recommend, that they designed with, but they do give DMC,
equivalents in case you don't want to spend the money.
Yeah, because it was I think it was $48 to buy everything as a kit, and I think to just get the floss was going to be like $30 or $28. I got my floss for around $10 or $11 because I bought DMC at Joanne Fabric. So, and I think it looks I'm just as happy with it. So then in January, the first clue was the Alice. It tells you what storybook you're doing. This is all going to be storybook characters, and it gave the clue for the picture in here, and then each month now it'll go in order. So I'm just gonna do each month the frame and the picture for that month, and I'll work on the non-monthly thing like that in my spare time until it's finished. So, and I keep that in this. I love this bag, this nice big Jessalou bag with my Star Wars on it, and it's the perfect size for that 8x8 frame and all of my stuff.
Yeah.
So, yep, that's it for my whirlwind romance. Future dates.
Future dates. The only future dates I have scheduled for is the Color Affection shawl, which tomorrow I have off, so I may wind up at least one of the balls. It would be good to probably wind up all three. Yeah, and then after that, what I'll probably be doing once that gets to a certain length is work on a pair of socks.
That sounds good.
Yeah, because it gets big.
So,
I'm
what is
excited
the
about
name?
it,
It's the
Color Affection
There we
shawl.
go.
And I'm using, so we're doing an impromptu Blue Moon knit along, and
Yeah.
I am using a skein of Blue Moon in it.
Mm.
And it's funny because I texted the group and I'm like, can I use this as part of my knit along? And someone's like, you're the one who's
You're
running
the one
it.
who started the knit along.
I'm like, I know, but I wasn't sure how strict we were going to be.
Well, my future date is also a knit along with our group, but half of our group is doing a Blue Moon fiber arts, and the other half is doing the Hitofude sweater.
Because the first half don't want to be challenged with that.
So I'm making it with this amazing Enchanted Knoll Farm sock yarn in the Margaritaville colorway.
It really doesn't do it justice.
No,
there.
you cannot see how beautiful it is. But I had a sad. So I went to wind these last night.
Ooh, are you gonna are you gonna interchange them, or are you just gonna go for it? Because
I'm just gonna go for it.
Because they're slightly different, but
It's
I
hard
love
to tell
the colors.
because this one, the outside is darker. They all have lighter and darker sections, so it's hard to tell.
It'll be really nice to see how that comes out.
It's gonna be pretty. So this one was fine. This one was tangled, but I worked it out, and I had to break it. That's how tangled it was.
Oh, all right.
This one got sort of tangled, and it actually yanked my Swift off the table onto the ground and came off. So I had to wind it by hand because once it came off the Swift, there was like no going back. And then we had the third skein. I got this much of the third skein wound. And then it became obvious to me that it had multiple ends hanging out of it, which I hadn't noticed before because my cats got into it. At first I thought it was moths, and I was like so upset. I thought it got destroyed in the moth wars because I never actually put it into my stash area. It was in a bucket bag. So it wasn't like on the floor, but then I noticed that it was not moth damage. It was like somebody had snapped it, and then I remembered the cat got into it, and I had found it partially unscathed.
Mm.
The cat chewed through the yarn, so right now I have these many small balls, this ball, and this that I'm still winding out of this, and there are still at least another loose end in here, so this is going to be at least 2 more balls.
Right.
So I think I'm going to have to call Josette up and see if she can dye another skein just to be sure, because I know I lost some yardage having to overlap with all these half skeins. But at least it wasn't moth damage. Like, that really upset me, but I was like, this does not look like moth damage.
Right, the way it's ripped.
Yeah. And I was like, this is chewing cats. So I will be starting Hitofude with my friends as soon as I get that last skein wound up. I don't
know if anyone
start.
started the Blue Moon yet. I know there was talk about it, but I don't know if anyone's actually started it yet.
Yeah. I also found a really good pattern. Somebody who did Hitofude who told the best way to figure out what size you would need is to measure like you're wearing a shrug, because that's how it's designed.
Okay.
So it's a measurement that goes like around.
Oh, all right.
And
So
around.
from you start here, go down and
They
around
said
and come
don't
back.
use your boobs because that's not how the sweater really needs to fit.
Okay.
So I'm like, good to know. I'm going to take that measurement before I cast on. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But I was like, this sweater is doomed before it even started because of all the trouble I had with this yarn.
Yeah.
But it's that one, bad one. I think the other one had been played with too. I remembered after I'm looking at it last night when I was winding it, and I was like, this is that yarn that I came home and it was like in the middle of the floor and it was all unwound, and I just twisted it back up and put it together.
Oh.
They got into it, and then they got into another one too, but they didn't get it undone from the twist. So, my cats. I think it was either Maggie or Ollie, because Oscar doesn't care. So that's it for that. Baubles and bling.
I got a big ball.
What'd you get?
I don't have it.
Oh.
I will get it.
Oh.
Once a month. Once every other month. I bit the bullet, and I'm...
Good for you.
Oh, I used, I think, some of my Rhinebeck money for it, because I went into my rainy day fund, and I saw money there, and I'm like, oh. So to replace that money, I would have to put in an extra $36 a month. I'm like, I think I can do that.
I think you can.
So, I bit the bullet, and I am a member of the Blue Moon Fiber Arts Socks That Rocks Club.
10th anniversary.
Not only edition, so not only did I bite the bullet, but I bought the bullet for the extra bling.
You got the bag?
I did, because I went onto her site, and so supposedly it's exclusive to the club members only forever. Like, these colors will never be introduced again. So we know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well,
I know how you feel about that.
Well, that's what I meant.
Do I understand that? No, but I know how you feel about it.
Meaning that if they say it's
I know. Yeah. No, that's exactly me.
And any of our super friends understand that too. Anyways,
she likes the exclusivity. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, well, if you say it's going to be exclusive, then
she likes it to be exclusive.
So, anyways, I went to. We're supposed to be getting a bag sometime during the summer by Queen Bee Creation. So I went to her website, and some of the bags, I'm like, okay, I could do that. If not, in a year I could sell it.
There you go. I'm sure you can always find somebody who wants one.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited.
Not like if you get stuck with something that you're not happy with, eventually you can destash it if you want.
Right.
To.
That's the good thing about Ravelry. Yeah. Or you use those destash yarns in a project, which is what I'm doing with my Keller Affection Show. So the first shipment should be coming this month. She's put out a clue.
What is it?
Groovy something or other. A lot of people are wondering if it's going to be similar to the electric Kool-Aid acid test that she had put out a few years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see what it is.
Exciting.
I mean, even if it's rainbow, I like that stuff too. So when I get it, you'll see it.
That's exciting.
I am excited. I need more yarn. I'm also shaking my head because,
Well, if you love it, you should get it. And
I know, it just means I really need to start using my...
Blue Moon and start hoarding it, Kind of like my whole,
what's...
Sundara stash.
Yeah.
Mine
was a little less than yours, but not by much.
A little bit, but nowadays not much. Like back in the day, that was an expensive yarn. Nowadays, compared to what yarn costs now with what I spent on that yarn back in the day, it's like. Yeah. But I probably have way more. I do have way more Sundara than any single person needs, and I cannot bring myself to use it.
At least I'm using mine. Slowly,
I've used
using mine.
A couple skeins of mine, but I am always waiting for something that really
draws you in.
Yeah, for that yarn, because some of it's so pretty. I don't know if I could ever knit with it. I just like looking at it. So. Yeah,
I have no problem with using Blue Moon. It's just.
You have no problem using Blue Moon. You just don't use it.
No, I just.
Wait a minute. That doesn't make sense.
I don't knit. Well, no, I've knit with it. It's just you can only knit so much pair of socks. It's hard to find the right project, but
this is.
But mine isn't as, I don't know. What else? I bought some new scrubs. I bought this top, which is
Dr. Seuss.
Cat in the Hat.
It matches with my Dr. Seuss bag. Thing 1 and Thing 2.
Thing 1, Thing 2. And I bought a pair of gray scrubs to go with it. I would actually like to buy a pair of red bottoms to go with this too.
Ooh, that'd be so pretty.
And then I bought a couple of other bottoms. Not so much tops, because I have the tops. I just needed some bottoms to go with it.
Cool.
And I think that's pretty much all the... Well, we have one more bling, but we'll mention that towards the end.
Oh, yeah. That. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
what? We do? I have a bauble bling.
That's all my baubles.
Once again, my forgetfulness and remembering what things are called has ended with me being rewarded. I'm trying to decide if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, you're getting rewarded by it, so yeah.
So, I kept thinking of the baby panda yarn from Spunky Eclectica, Sad Panda, and I said on a few shows ago that I wish somebody would name a colorway Sad Panda, and Fibernymph did name a colorway. I'm trying to, it's white, so it's hard to see. This is Sad Panda. I got it on the Bedazzled base. You can kind of see it sparkling if I move it, because I love her Bedazzled base.
I know you do. You have
my soft kitty, which I'm wearing right now, actually, is Bedazzled. And the thing that I love about this is it's self-striping, but the blue stripe is a multicolored blue. It's variegated. So I cannot wait to knit this up. This is going to be my next pair
I was
of
just going to
socks.
ask. So do you know what kind of pattern? Or
I am torn. I might do the same pattern, groovy, that I did on my Christmas socks. Cause I thought that might look really good, but I want to see what the tone knits up like first. Because
right.
It might be too variegated in the blue stripe to look good with that groovy pattern.
I don't know. I think that groovy pattern can deal with anything.
It probably. I don't know, but I'm leaning towards that. But I'm so excited about this.
I'll wait to see.
I love, this is on her Bedazzled base, which is superwash merino, nylon, and stellina. And it's 438 yards. Self-striping, Sad Panda. But this Sad Panda makes me happy panda. And you can find this colorway at Fibernymph.com. She had some for her last update. And if you get a custom, you can probably ask her to dye this. But it's awesome, and I cannot wait to see what it knits up like. I'm very excited. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. And if anyone else needs some name ideas for their yarn, I got tons of names. I'm like, bring it on.
That's funny.
Sad Panda, though, who could resist that for a colorway name? It's kind of
cute.
And Lisa and her daughter use this saying with each other all the time, so she was like. Right. It meant something to her, too. So, thank you, Lisa. I can't wait to knit with it. That's next. I should put that in my future date, because that's next on the,
I have a pair of her Good and Plenties that I still gotta...
I know.
If I didn't tell my son I was gonna knit him a pair of socks, that would be the next thing for me.
Well, I have her Lucky Cat, too. Lucky Cat was gonna be my next one. Remember when I ordered Lucky Cat? But when I got this, I'm like, I'm bumping Lucky Cat back, because Sad Panda is... even better. So that's it for my Baubles and Bling. Crushes and Heartbreaks.
Crushes and Heartbreaks. I'm gonna work this weekend. I don't know if that's a crush or a heartbreak. Usually it's a heartbreak. I'm trying to think.
I'm trying to think, but not
I don't
happening.
know. Yeah, well, lights are on, no one's home. It's the story of my life. Work's been good. It's been frustrating because people are calling out sick, which are very valid. Don't get me wrong with that. One woman actually is in the hospital with her gallbladder removed, as well as being sick with something.
That's not good.
No, it's not. Right now, the hospital is like overfilling. We're doing morning draws, when we go to the rooms and the doctors like to have the blood work early so that they can get results. We're going to places where we wouldn't normally be going.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're just so overfull. And last Friday, heartbreak, there were only 3 of us to work the whole entire hospital, including outpatients, inpatients, and ERs.
Yeah.
It was very tough. It was very busy. The one thing I do like about working weekends, though, is, I know it sounds weird, I'm not home. So, it's like it gives me an out.
Yeah.
I don't have to do laundry, although I have to do that tomorrow. Hopefully my husband will cook. My boys had off Monday due to Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And my husband made steak and chicken. It was delicious.
And even more delicious because it was not had to be made by you.
Yeah, I still had to make the salad, but... Excuse me.
Bless you.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Other than that, I don't think there's anything else. My bank account's a little less, but that's my doing. Like I said, I'll just have to power through with overtime.
That's right. You got 10 months.
I know.
So
maybe a little less because I owe money, or I will owe money. But I'll power through and
get it done.
Yeah. And sorry, something's in the air.
I know, sorry. And is that it for your question?
I guess so. I'm sure I'm forgetting something. I usually do.
My only heartbreak is I went to... I mean, it actually turned into a crush in a way. I went to see the oncologist. Got that done.
All right. I'm like, how could that turn into a crush?
It's mostly a heartbreak. I have to do chemo prevention therapy. The reason that my surgical oncologist had recommended against me doing tamoxifen, which is called chemo, it's a specific type of chemo prevention as opposed to chemotherapy.
Okay.
Chemo prevention therapy is when you take it when you don't have cancer anymore, or you haven't had cancer but you could get it, to prevent it from happening in the future. So they had told me that I didn't necessarily need to do it last time. This time, she said she personally still didn't think it was necessary, but my risk had gone up, so I needed to speak with the medical oncologist to understand what my numbers were before I made a decision. And what I didn't understand, because I didn't have an appointment with her, instead I was making the appointment with the medical oncologist, right, is what I had removed this time was much more serious than what I had removed last time. So I had that benign tumor was benign, but it was atypical and it was unstable. So that's a little higher grade of an incident than last year when I just had some atypical cells forming in there.
Right.
This was an actual tumor that eventually could have turned into cancer if it wasn't taken care of.
Right.
Which it was, so I'm fine. But having the initial thing happen to me increased my risk from the average, which is like 1 point something, to 2.9. I guess it was 2.9 over 5 years. So a little bit of an increase, but it was like tiny.
I don't mean to laugh, but I was just thinking of the other part.
I'm gonna explain that. And my lifetime risk of getting cancer was 14% as opposed to 11% in the general population. So even though I had an increased risk, it wasn't that much different than somebody who had never had my history. But because of the findings on my last result, my risk of having cancer in the next 5 years went up to 7% instead of 1.1, which is a much more significant difference. But more alarmingly is my lifetime risk for cancer went up to almost 50% instead of 11%. And that's the thing that they're mostly worried about. So I hear this from the doctor. I had my husband with me. She spent an hour and a half talking with us. She went over every single aspect of my breast health record because they need to take everything into account, including my medical history, my parents, my grandparents, all of my genetic cancer history, all of my breast health history, and a bunch of other factors that build into your risk. And she used several different models to work out what my risk was because some of them vary. In my case, they were all basically the same. I would say between 35 and 50% on all of them. So it was like a range, and but most of them came out almost 50%. So she said, in her opinion, that she would recommend doing it because I can increase that risk potentially by up to 75% and get it almost down to like a normal person just by doing this drug for 5 years and then doing a different type of chemo prevention afterwards that's not as harsh. Tamoxifen sucks. That was my biggest fear last year, that they would make me take it. And I'm not happy about doing it, but my risk is so high compared to the risk that I'll have bad side effects from this, that it's just really something that I can't in good conscience not do. But, so anyway, I had this whole appointment. I knew this happened, but when it was happening to me, and this is why I bring my husband to these things, and this is why she printed out everything on paperwork so you could look at it afterwards. What I heard her say was that I had a 50% risk of getting cancer in 5 years. I think like when I heard the word 50% risk, like everything else just kind of like was like, whoa, because that was really, I was not prepared for that. My risk went from 11% to 14% last time. I was like, I was like, maybe it went up to 20. 50% is really high. So I kept listening, and I was perfectly calm, and I was thinking, well, 50%, I'm going to get cancer in the next 5 years. And so even afterwards, I'm talking to my husband, I'm like, that 50% is really high. And he's like, I know. He said, but you're going to do this. It'll be fine. He's like, it's not that big a deal. And I'm like, for you, maybe. And I called Sheila, and I told her, and I called my mom, and I'm just like, I said, I'm in shell shock. Like, I can't stop thinking about how horrible that is. And so the whole evening, I was just kind of in shock about it. And, like, too much even in shock to really be upset about it. Like, it just seemed unreal. And so after the kids went to bed, I said to my husband, can we talk about this 50% thing? And he goes, what about it? And I said, it's like a 50% chance I could have breast cancer in the next 5 years. And he was like, no, it's not. And then he explained it, and I was like, oh, that's way better. So then I kind of felt better about
That's
it. Like,
why
it's
I keep
still
giggling.
bad. It's still bad.
It's so much better
But
than what
it's
you
so
thought.
much better than what I thought, that I was, like, actually happy about it. I'm like, oh, well. Yeah, I only had a 7 times greater chance of getting cancer than a regular person. But it's only 7%, so it doesn't seem that bad. But anyway, so yeah, I'm going to start doing it, and I don't know how I'm going to feel about it. I know there are people out there that wrote to me that have been through tamoxifen therapy. My doctor says, we're going to try it, and if it's really horrible, I can stop. So, you know, I just feel like I ought to do something about it, because that's a pretty high risk. And if I have another incident, then
it won't be a try, it will be a do.
Then it will be, yeah. Then I am going to seriously have a problem. Then I'm going to be one of those really high-risk people. So, that's a bummer.
It is a bummer,
But I'm
it's
okay
not,
with it.
It's not a...
It's not going to kill me.
Right.
It's not going to really even hurt me. It's inconvenient. I don't like taking a drug that I potentially don't need, because with anything, it's like a flip of a coin.
Yeah.
One flip of the coin says, I'm going to get cancer by the end of my lifetime. The other flip says, I'm never going to get cancer. So,
who knows?
Prophylactic stuff is hard because you're treating for something that might never happen. So
Right.
I have a problem with that. But on the flip side of it,
It could happen.
it happened 2 years in a row. The second time it was worse. And if something did happen and I didn't even try to reduce my risk,
Right.
and I'm going to do other things to reduce my risk too. There are dietary and exercise changes that I am going to do that are also going to reduce my risk. And I'm meeting with my oncologist in 3 months, and we'll assess my risk at each stage. And if I get to a point where my risk is low enough, then I can stop taking it. I am in control of my own health. So that's what I'm doing right now. And I'm a lot happier now than when I thought.
Good.
I was just stunned. I don't know if you could tell, but I was just like,
Yeah,
I don't even know what's
She
happening.
called me up, and I'm like, she's far too calm for this.
I just couldn't get it right, wrap my head around it. And it turned out that I wasn't even, like, thinking the right thing. I was so relieved afterwards. So, anyway, that's my crush and heartbreak. It's mostly
I was
heartbreak.
gonna say.
It could have been way worse, though.
Hi, babe.
It's like when people want to break bad news and they're like, I'm dying. Oh, just kidding. I crashed the car. It's kind of one of those things.
Yeah.
But this is why I again want to plead with you, if you are not getting regular breast health examinations, you should be getting at least an annual palpitation breast exam, physical breast exam from your medical doctor. And if you are over the age of 40, you should be getting an annual mammogram. It is a really good idea to do it because, you know, you can find out stuff like this and you can take charge of it and hopefully make a difference.
Exactly.
So I'm glad that I can do that. And I'm glad, thank you, so glad that I have good health insurance.
Yes.
And I am so sorry for people out there who are struggling to find good health insurance because I cannot even imagine how stressful that must be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
So I have a lot to be thankful for. So that's it for Crushes and Heartbreaks. Gossip and Innuendo. I'm going to show you
that's right.
the new collection by Angeleah McGarrah. I queued it up.
And this is one of my Baubles and Blings as well.
Yes, we both got copies of this, and these it's a book of shawlettes, and they are gorgeous. It's called the Earth's Wonder Collection, and this is the first one, Oyster's Treasure. I'm going to try to show you. This is it's the shell pattern lace that goes around the edge of a crescent-shaped shawl. And this one is done in, I believe, fingering weight yarn. Yes, fingering weight yarn, 430 yards. That's Oyster's Treasure. The next one is Swashmark. And this one has this lace pattern on the edge. It's beautiful, of a garter shawl, crescent-shaped shawl. That is also done in fingering weight yarn, and that comes in 2 sizes. Actually, I think the first one probably came in 2 sizes too. Let me just double check that for you. Yes, the second one comes in as well. The third one is called Summer Shadow. I love the color of this one. I like the lace. Yes, it's got a leaf lace with an edging. It's gorgeous. Again, on a crescent-shaped shawl with garter. One of the great things about these patterns that I really liked about the pattern is she gives you a formula so that you can figure out yourself how big you want to make it according to how much yardage you have. Right. So you can follow her standard instructions with the recommended yardage if you don't want to be bothered to do that math. But if you're like Sheila and you want to use all of the yarn that you can on a project, you can follow her formula and work it out, and they'll tell you exactly how big you can make it. So I love stuff like that because I feel like it's efficient.
I'm all about using every scrap, where you like to have some for your...
I don't mind having leftovers, but I like to use mine up too. Like, I don't mind having a little bit of leftover, but if you end up with a ball like this big of fingering, it just seems sad because there's not a lot you can do with that. No. I'll use it to make a scrap blanket, but it would be nice to use the whole skein. Like, I can appreciate that. So the next one is called Snowy Tempest. I love the color of this one too. And this one has what reminds me of a pineapple lace. It's like a cable twist with a open work lace. Mm-hmm. It's really pretty. Did you see that? It looks like a pineapple.
Yeah, it does.
Well, she calls it Snowy Tempest. I call it pineapple. Guess that's why I'm not the designer. And again, edged on a crescent-shaped shawl, again with her special formula, which I think is excellent. That's just one of the features. She thinks a lot about how it will be easiest to help you work the pattern, and I think that's one of the things I like about her the most as a designer. And then she has Rolling Brook. I don't want to get it too small. That has an open work lace.
You're ready to have it flip.
Yeah, I see. Open work lace, edging, and a cable-ish. Looks like a little crossover cable stitch on that one. And last but not least is Plummeting Fronds. I love this one. That has kind of a leaf or a petal. It's dayflower lace, I think, on the edging. And these are all really big, squishy shawls that you can wrap around, but you can also make the smaller version. So you control how big it is, and you can also control how much yarn you use, which I think is excellent. And these are all a collection called Earth's Wonders. I will be linking to this collection in our group thread, and I will be telling you to tell me which one is your favorite and what color you'd make it.
Okay. The reason why is we're giving away...
We're going to give away 6. 6. One of each pattern. So, like with the last time, we'll try to match you up with the one that you said your favorite, but you might not get your favorite one. Like, we do our best to match everybody up. But we're giving away one each of these patterns. But if you don't want to wait, or you're excited to do one of these patterns now, you can use this code, EWC25, and get either the entire ebook,
which is $20,
or an individual shawl pattern for 25% off until the end of February.
So the book is $20 and each individual pattern is $5.
So you could do that. So I will be posting that code in the group. I will also have it in the show notes. And if you want to join the contest, check it out. We will draw for that contest in episode 195, which is 2 weeks from now. And thanks again to Angeleah, who is a very good friend of the podcast, and I consider her a friend of mine, for doing a contest with us. I love showing everybody her work. It's beautiful. So that's exciting that we have another contest coming up. Yeah. It's fun to have those. And also at the end of this month, we'll be drawing for the Warmth knit-along. We'll draw somebody for that. And don't forget to put in your suggestions for next month's knit-along, because we're going to pick another one from that thread. Yeah. Because that had a lot of good ideas in there. It did
have a lot of good ideas.
And this is the year where we're just trying to do creatively different stuff. Yeah. Mix it up.
Absolutely.
So, anything else?
No, I think that's it.
It really is time for me to post a list of 2015 of fiber events. I really need to I'm going to write it down. I have to remind myself to do it. Once again, if you have a fiber event that's in the New England area that we don't usually publicize that you'd like us to mention, let me know and I'll put it on the list. Also, for those of you who live in Massachusetts, in, now I can't remember the name of the town. The place where I got the ticket. Not
Acton? No.
No. Not Weston. Starts with a W. Not Waltham. Anyway.
Wellesley? No.
No.
Wayland.
In Wayland, Mass, the garden place. No, I can't think of the garden place either. God, I am just... I had 1 hour of sleep, people. There's no brain cell working in my head. There's a garden center that we publicize every year that does a fiber festival. It's this weekend, as far as I know. So,
okay.
I'll put it on the show notes because there's no way I can remember it now. I can't even think of the name of the gardening place. All I can think of is Mahoney's, and that's not it.
I highly doubt that.
It's on the Boston Post Road, Route 20 in Wayland.
Okay.
It's a garden center there. So if you searched on that and you were from Massachusetts, you could easily tell which one it was. It's not Mahoney's, it's the other one. What the heck name is it?
Brothers?
No. I think it starts with an R. I can't remember. Anyway. No, we should just look it up at this point. Actually, I can look in my messages because I was texting with...
Russell's
Garden Center.
I can do it quicker.
Yeah, Lisa's going.
Oh, all right.
Jamal Knitter, my friend Jamal Knitter is going. Russell's Garden Center. They are doing their annual fiber thing. They also have artisanal foods and stuff for sale.
And that's this weekend?
It's this weekend.
Oh.
They have this pickle guy that sells everything pickled. It's kind of amazing. They have a bread person that has all the different kinds of breads. They have a couple of, they had an Indian food vendor. They had a chowder vendor. They have people that do different little, jellies and custom marshmallow candy vendor. It's kind of awesome. So if you live anywhere in the area, they usually have 10 or 12 fiber and yarn vendors. Good Karma Farms is usually there.
It's called, this one says, and I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but I'm looking on their website.
Yeah.
And they call it I don't know if it's...
They regularly do a gourmet food thing.
It's Winter Farmers Market, yes. Saturdays 10 to 2. So
that is every Saturday.
Okay.
Twice in the spring, I believe it's twice, they invite fiber vendors to come to that. So there is fewer of the food vendors.
Okay.
Because they bring in the fiber vendors. And the fiber specific one is this weekend. But yes, they have a Winter Farmers Market in there every weekend, and they have amazing artisanal food if you are into that kind of thing.
Cool.
Because we've gone to that just separately. So that's this weekend. Right. And, they have this guy that sells brick oven pizza outside. Yummy. He has a brick oven that he brings. It's pretty good. So I got to remind Diane that's this weekend too. Maybe she's the one who told me that. I don't know. So,
All right.
Anyway, I think that's it.
Maybe I'll have another project finished next week.
I hope so. I hope at least this one sock will be done by next week.
Well, it's hard for me because I'm working this weekend, so we'll see.
Yeah. So, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you have a great week. I hope everybody stays warm because it's going to be
cool.
crappy this weekend, especially on the East Coast. Stay safe.
Knit with heart.
With heart. Bye.
Bye.